Thanks everyone for joining. I'm going to get started because there's a lot of information that we're going to try to get through in an hour period, and I just wanted to make sure that we're not rushing through this. And if you have any questions, definitely feel free to answer questions on the chat, or you are currently all muted, and if you wanted to unmute to ask a question, you could hit *7 and then hit *6 to mute yourself again. But we'll go over logistics in just one moment. So first I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Johanna Berry-Wasser, and I work with the University of Colorado at Denver. And I'm working with the Pyramid Plus Center. And we really felt like it was a useful tool to have a webinar, which is going to be recorded, on navigating all the pyramid model websites that are currently available to anyone. So families, providers, administrators, service providers. And so today what we'll be doing is going over 3 different websites. It won't be so much the content of the pyramid model. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. Okay. Our logistics for today is that this is going to be 1 hour, so we'll end at 4:30. It is a bit unique because we're working with the phone and the computer, and part of this webinar is really going to be primarily using and navigating the websites itself. I do have a PowerPoint to help guide us, and this PowerPoint will be available on the Pyramid Plus website for you to reference. As I said before, you're all muted, and to unmute you just hit *7, and to remute you'll hit *6. I think our audience is going to be fairly small, so if you do have any questions, please ask them. If we get too many questions, I might ask you to wait until the end of the presentation just so we could get through all the content. And also remember that there is a chat section at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, and you can feel free to email me or to chat with me. I just have to warn everyone that this is my first webinar, so I may be a little slow in my responses. Next, I think I did mention this, but I want to just repeat this. And I'll actually be able to show you where our archived webinars are housed on the Pyramid Plus website. And so this webinar will be saved on our Pyramid Plus website, so you can access it and use it with staff trainings. Also, at the end of the webinar, there'll be an evaluation to be filled out. And what we're doing with Pyramid Plus is we're using one evaluation form for all of our trainings, just so we can get some really good data measures. And if you don't mind filling out the attached evaluation at the end of the webinar and send it to me, that would be fabulous. All of your feedback helps us give you better services. Okay. Now to our objectives, pretty simple. We're really just going to navigate the Pyramid Plus website, which is the Colorado Center on Social Emotional Competence and Inclusion. We're also going to look at the Center on Social Emotional Foundations for Early Learning. That's the CEFL website. And the sister center to CEFL is TAXI, and that's the Technical Assistance Center on Social Emotional Interventions. I know that some of you may be familiar with these websites, but I just want to be sure that you see all of the resources that are available on these websites, because there is a lot. Okay. Now we're just going to take a brief look at the pyramid model. Some of you may be new to the pyramid model, and it really is a framework. And it's based upon evidence-based interventions for promoting social, emotional, and behavioral development for young children. The model describes 3 tiers of the intervention practice. So we've got the universal practices, to help promote social emotional competence for all children. And I also would like to add that there is a large portion of the pyramid that's addressing adult behavior and adult comfort in the workforce. So if you see the yellow brick on the bottom, the very bottom layer of the foundation of the pyramid, that's our effective workforce. And really, if that's not in place, we really need to mend that, because how the pyramid model works is it's layered. And if we miss some of these layers, we might see more challenging behaviors with children, or we might actually see some dissatisfaction in quality of work in the workforce. Originally, the pyramid model was focused on 2 to 5-year-olds, but recently there have been additional resources available for infants, toddlers, and even families. So this is really birth to 5 years old, and we're not just looking at children. Like I said, we're looking at adults too. It is a collaborative project. So there are lots of universities, and as you can see, 0 to 3 is a part of the CEFL, TAXI, and now Pyramid Plus. We're working in collaboration with all these projects. However, Pyramid Plus is based at the University of Colorado at Denver. We use each other as resources. Okay, let's get started. We're going to look at Pyramid Plus first. And I do want to just give you a quick background. First, before I do that, I want you to note that this is the Pyramid Plus, let's see if I can use a little, this is the Pyramid Plus website address, and this is our email address. So definitely feel free to contact us if you have any questions or need some additional information. Okay. Pyramid Plus is funded by the Colorado Department of Human Services, the Division of Child Care, Division of Developmental Disabilities, so Early Intervention Program, Part C, and the Division of Behavioral Health. And we are very fortunate to have these funders being able to support this project. And I do want to thank all the people that are working with Pyramid Plus and working for the promotion of Pyramid Plus, because this work is very, very big and very, very broad, and we only have 6 people on our staff. So we're all working really diligently to get things set in place for all of you, and we're very excited about it. Our overall goal is really to ensure a high fidelity of implementation in early care and education settings. And we're really focused on 2 national models, one being the pyramid model for promoting the social emotional foundations for infants and young children, which includes the CEFL and TAXI centers. And also we are linking with the Special Quest initiative, which is really promoting birth to 5 inclusion practices, which is also extremely exciting. And I wish I had enough time to go over all the websites today, but the Special Quest website is a webinar in itself, and actually we will be having a webinar specifically focused on Special Quest in the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for that. Also, we're looking at any evidence-based practices that help promote social emotional development and inclusion practices for children. Now, what I did was I took the objectives of Pyramid Plus. So as you can see, we have 12 objectives, which is quite a lot. And what I did, I changed the color of the font to blue for some of the objectives that we'll be targeting today in this webinar. So information on providing training and support to trainers, coaches, demonstration sites, which we're actually calling Pyramid Plus certification sites. At this moment, we have 5 designated sites that we're working with. 4 are actually sites, and 1 is a community. And what we're trying to do is get these programs up to a high fidelity. This can take a year to 2 years until they're certified. So at this point, we do not have any certified Pyramid Plus sites, and I just wanted to share that information with everyone. And once our sites become certified, we'll have a method to allow people to come visit the sites so they can see the implementation in practice. This webinar will hopefully address some support for communities too, as well as families, and provide some TA statewide support. There is a lot of information on all 3 of these websites that really will help technical assistance in implementing the pyramid model. Also, we're partnering with other initiatives and working with the other national sites or centers. Pardon me. Okay. All right. So part of our website, and I do have to say that it is under construction. We've been putting a lot of work into the website. Pyramid Plus was unveiled really on October of 2009, but our rollout and our website came out on the 1st of January. So we're in our infancy stage, and we're hoping to provide the best services and the best resources for our state. So this is just a state website for Colorado, and here are some of the information that's on this website. So links to state and national TA resources, webinars that have any webinars that Pyramid Plus has already done that will live on the Pyramid Plus website, information about the pyramid model, special quests, inclusion practices, and much more, registries for trainers, coaches, and programs or sites. And that's something that is a big project that Pyramid Plus is involved in. We are not only looking at certification for sites, but we are also certifying trainers and coaches in the state. So I want to let you know that eventually we'll have a registry which you can go to, similar to what Taxi has for their consultants, and you can see what coach or trainer is available in your area. So that will be coming eventually, hopefully in the next year. They'll also have links and contact information to local resources, regional and state, questions and answers, fact sheets, training information that's coming up, and then any data that we'll be collecting will also be sharing with Pyramid Plus visitors. Okay, so let's start our journey. Oops, I missed one. Okay, let's begin our tour. Now, I hope you all bear with me. This is my first webinar, and I think I'm in good hands with Josh here. Here is our site, our website. If you haven't seen it before, welcome. And really what we're going to do is take a brief tour of what our site offers. We're going to start at the home. So you could either click it, and it'll bring you to a home site. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the home site. You can either click the headings here. So we have the technical assistance and training, the framework, and the state policy work. And that will bring you to a bigger screen. It's the same information that's on the home page, but this is just a bigger screen. So this is just telling you what we're providing with our technical assistance. We have universal practices, which is basically providing trainings across the state using the website, having webinars. I'm sorry, the webinars are under the targeted and conference calls as well as the trainings. And then intensive. So just like the pyramid model is a tiered model, we're also acting as a tiered approach, going from universal to targeted to intensive. I'm going to go back to the home page and click on the trainings and events. This is one that we're commonly asked, what trainings are we offering, where and when? And so this was just updated today, so it's pretty fresh. And here you'll see the date, the time, and how to register, or more information on the specific training that we're having. So our next training will be this Friday, and it's a webinar on leadership teams, state planning, program-wide, that Barbara Smith will be doing. And you can see the brief description here, and then there's a register key, which you just click, and it will bring you to the ReadyTalk registration, how you registered for this training. Let me bring you back. So we also have another webinar coming on the Special Quest and a challenging behavior webinar coming. So you can see that we're offering quite a few trainings throughout the year. Another training that's coming up or that we're providing are resource and referral trainings, and that's a 2 half-day workshop that we're providing for resource and referral agencies across the state. And currently our max is to take 8 resource and referrals this year, and next year do the other 8. But we're having a big conference this summer in Breckenridge, and here's some information on that training, along with a fact sheet and registration form. For this training, it's really promoting support for leadership teams, and there is a prerequisite that you've had the full module training, whether it's infant and toddler or preschool. So if you're interested, please check it out. On page 2, we have our summer preschool module training information and our fall infant toddler training information. So again, please check that out, one in Crested Butte and one in Colorado Springs. And we'll be having a fall policy summit. Again, these trainings are updated on as we book them, so be sure to check them out on a regular basis. Okay. I'm going to go back to the home page. And here is information on the certification for trainers and coaches. If you're interested in getting more information on what it is and how to apply, this is where it lives. We also have information on our Pyramid Plus sites. So what are we requiring from sites is listed, and what we're required to do to provide support for sites is listed as well. Again, if you're interested in learning more about that process, it's a great way to find out. Okay. Next, this is information about who we are, where the funding's coming from, and the partners that we're working with. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go over that, but again, you'll see that it's pretty easy to navigate. Here's some really useful, helpful information, and that's the overview of Pyramid Plus, as well as, let's go on here. Oh, hold on one second. Sorry about that. That is actually that is PowerPoint on Pyramid Plus. What I did want to show you is right here. This is an incredibly useful resource. on explaining what the pyramid model is, there is an overview video, which is a brief webinar explaining everything about the pyramid. So if you're doing a new staff training or maybe a parent night and you want to give families information about what the pyramid model is and you don't feel quite comfortable presenting it yourself, this might be a great overview to show to families or to other professionals. Here's some pyramid model fact sheet. So what the pyramid model is. Again, really great resources. At a touch of a button, you can get lots of information. You'll notice that some of the resources that we have on Pyramid Plus are also the same things that are on either the TAXI or CEPHL site. And that's really just to show that this is all one thing. We're all working for the same goal, and that's promoting social emotional competency and inclusion practices for all children. So I'm going to go back up. And just like we have a section for pyramid, we also have a section for inclusion practices. So Pyramid Plus has really taken on the DEC and NAEYC joint position paper on inclusion. And if you needed that resource or were interested in reading it, it's, again, at a touch of a button, you can get right there. It is an incredible paper, and I highly recommend it. And I just want to show you that you get the full paper here. Okay. Again, I'm going to move along because there's a lot more information. Here's the Special Quest website, link to the website. I really highly encourage you to check it out. There is a lot of great material on that website. We're also taking on the building blocks for teaching preschoolers with special needs, which is a great resource, again, on how to modify and accommodate for children with special needs in your early childhood setting. Also, the Head Start Center for Inclusion and the National Professional Development Center on Inclusion. More information. Okay. This is a great link here. It is giving you any updates and particularly any publications that have been delivered in a magazine or a newspaper, and you could check out what's going on across the state with the pyramid model. We also have a newsletter. And if you sign up here, you could just click on this link, write your information down. You will just automatically get a newsletter sent to you, which I recommend. Next, we've got some resources. What I really think is great are these helpful links. Here are all these websites that are highly, highly, highly helpful in learning more about social emotional development, dealing with challenging behaviors, and promoting inclusion practices. And you'll notice on the bottom we have specific sites just for Colorado. Okay, the other piece is I want to show you where past webinars and conference information live. And that's right here. So it's under Resources, under Past Webinars. And you'll see that we have quite a few already saved in our archive. Again, if you forget what our email address is, feel free to just click on Contact. We've got our address, our current address, which has changed in the last couple of weeks, which hopefully will stay the same for a while. The Pyramid Plus web address and email. And here's another place where you could sign up. Okay, so I am going to go back to the presentation. Oh, I'm going to go back to the presentation and click on the next key. Again, this PowerPoint will be available on the website. And what I did here is just doing a quick review of some of the key components to the website. There's also a little checkbox here if you wanted to kind of track yourself if you've been able to click on all these portions. Okay. All right. My friend Josh is signing off, and I just want to give him a thank you for helping me out. Okay. One of the things that I didn't talk about was that Pyramid Plus is really focused on working with other initiatives in the state. So other initiatives promoting social emotional development, inclusion, and part of our project and part of our work will be working with state policy leaders, a leadership team, and also initiatives across the state. So we become a little more uniform. Okay, the next website that we're going to talk about is the CEFL website. What I did here is I just gave you a link, which hopefully when we have this saved on the website, or if you want, you could email me and I will I'll email you this link here, which we'll see on the CEFL website, but sometimes it's nice to just have it at your fingertips. This is the video, the overview video that I showed you on the Pyramid Plus site as well. There's also the same presentation in Spanish. And that's one of the great things that have been going on with both the CEFL site and the Taxi site, and as well as Pyramid Plus, is that we're trying to get as much information in Spanish as possible to reach out to more and more people. So right here you'll see the website address for CEFL, and it's housed at Vanderbilt University, so it's a Vanderbilt web address. And just really quickly, CEFL is funded by the Office of Head Start and Child Care Bureau. And it's a national resource center to disseminate research and evidence-based practices on early childhood programs across the country. So currently there's 11 states that are participating with CEFL to become a statewide implementation site. Colorado was one of the first states selected, and we were supported with CEFL through CEFL for 1 year. And then after that year, we were provided support through the partnership, from the Pyramid Model Partnership. And that was a state leadership team that helped provide technical assistance to keep the promotion of the Pyramid Model going. Now that that 3-year grant had ended, that's when Pyramid Plus has stepped in. So now we're providing that same support and even greater support. Okay, it is primarily focused on social emotional development and school readiness for children birth to 5 years old, and also addressing challenging behaviors. So let's take a look at our CEFL site. Here we go. This is the CEFL site, and there is lots of information on this site. What I'll be doing is kind of jumping back and forth. Because there is so much, I want to be sure that you're seeing all that's available. And we're going to start really by just talking about the Pyramid Model module training resources that are on the site. Also, you'll see here that this is what I was talking about as far as the Spanish presentation and the video presentation. We also have the pyramid model poster in English, of course, but also in Spanish. So the first place that we're going to go to is our module training. And I'm going to flip back here quick. And you'll see that the module trainings are broken up into 4 modules. That's, oh, I'm sorry, that's infants. Let's go back. Oh, here we go, preschool. So we're looking at 4 different modules, and it's training on the whole pyramid, so from the bottom to the top. So promoting children's success by building positive relationships and supportive environments, teaching social skill strategies, intensive intervention, and leadership strategies. The next piece, the module training for the infant and toddlers. Notice you also have the links here if you wanted to go straight to the link, but you could go straight to the website. It's really easy to get there. And again, it's a very similar approach for modules, working from the bottom to the top of the pyramid. We also have a family workshop. It's broken down into 6 sections. It's a parent group, and how we have trained trainers is that really the trainer is a facilitator in the model. It is a great interactive workshop, very easy to implement, and a lot of fun. And we've gotten some great feedback from families. So going to the website, I'm going to show you how to get to this. You can click right here on Training Modules, or if you wanted to go straight to the source, if you wanted infant toddler, you could just click on that. I'll go on here so you can see everything. Okay. So here are the resources. And you could, if you wanted infant toddler, let's go there. Just click on infant toddler, and you'll see that we also have it in Spanish. Here's a brief description of what the training is. And then each module is broken down. So you have a facilitator's guide, all the handouts, and the video clips, all at your fingertips. And it goes through each module, along with evaluations at the end of each module. Okay. And the parent training is broken down, like I said, into 6 modules. The module piece here is really the resources for the facilitator. And then there is a family workbook. So that is printed up. It could be, you could put it together like a book, or you can give them each section as they come to the events. So again, all the resources are available. One of the great things about the parent training is that there is a module family routine guide. And this guide, I'll click on it so you can see it, really helps families figure out what to do. And again, this is just suggestions, what to do when my child's having some challenging behaviors. So what can I do to prevent a certain behavior from happening? What can I do to help teach my child a new way? And how am I going to respond when the behavior occurs? That's a big piece of positive behavior supports. And as you can see, they really break down very common routine activities that happen in the home. There is also one for preschool teachers, and eventually there'll be one for infants and toddlers too. I will show you where the preschool routine-based guide is on the TAXI website. This is quite lengthy, and my recommendation is to go over it with families or teachers before handing it over, or it could be fairly daunting to them. I just wanted to show you too some of the routines. So here are some of the routines that are listed with support. Okay. Let's go back, and I'm going to move up here. And I'm going to show you first where you can get some of the practical strategies. It's right here, practical strategies. Okay, so what are practical strategies? Wow, there's a whole list of practical strategies. There is a section on how to develop scripted stories or social stories, tools on building relationships, a book list which provides a list of books that are geared towards social emotional development, book nooks, which are super, super helpful. They actually give suggestions of activities related to books that are trying to promote social emotional development in children, and it can be a great resource for teachers. Currently there are 22 book nooks. The next is the teaching strategies, so teaching skills, promoting self-regulation, anger management. Some of you might be familiar with Tucker Turtle or some of the social stories that have been written on how to be a super friend, as well as problem-solving skills such as our solution kit. And then the next we have tools on developing behavior support plans. So I'm just going to scroll down and show you where all these are. So here are a bunch of social stories. And this is a great one-pager on how to develop a social story. So if you're not used to developing social stories, here's a great tool to help you do that. I also wanted to add that on our Pyramid Plus website, if you go under helpful links, under the Head Start inclusion link, there is a great exercise on how to write social stories, and they actually give you some templates. So here are some of our social stories, and then information on building positive relationships, so tracking the positive to negative comments made to children and staff members, and ways to encourage children and, again, staff members. Here's a book the book list, which is over 6 pages of books. And then here are those book nooks. So they vary from 2-pagers to 13-pagers, and there's lots of information. Again, this is all free and downloadable. So here are our teaching strategies, the feeling wheels, Tucker Turtle, the solution kit, and then these are case studies to help you understand the development of positive behavior support plans. Okay. Again, moving right along, we're going to look at one of the sections here that I find extremely helpful is information on different states. So here are the 11 states that are using the pyramid model. And what I highlighted was some of the work that North Carolina is doing. You could just click on North Carolina, or maybe I clicked on Maryland. Sorry. Anyone's from North Carolina or Maryland. I didn't mean to be geographically inequipped. But they have a ton of great things, and actually all the states do. But one in particular that I find as a really great resource is the infant toddler inventory of practices. So we have that for preschool, but North Carolina has developed one for infants and toddlers. So this is a great resource for teachers to do some self-assessment, for you to do some observations, and developing action plans. Colorado has a full page, or 2, I think, Actually, this is going to bring you right to Pyramid Plus because that's what we're doing now. We're providing the support. But this is all the past work that's been done. Okay. I'm going to start moving along a little quicker and show you the What Works briefs. What Works briefs are fabulous for promoting any practical strategies, providing resources to more information about practice. They're great for staff meetings or even grant writing because they're all evidence-based. One of the benefits to What Works Brief is that, here we'll go to the intro to What Works Brief, is that it's usually a 2, 3, maybe 4-page brief, but then they have 1-page handout summarizing the complete What Works brief. This brief is actually just showing you what you do with the What Works brief and how you can use it, how it can be helpful. So if you were just introducing the pyramid model into your community or your center, this might be a great resource to use to help educate the community and staff members on what the pyramid model is. So this is just one example. There were 22, there may be more. There are 22 What Works briefs. This also gets updated quite a bit, so definitely keep an eye out for new ones. And it's a range of different briefs and different topics. You'll also notice that we have them in English as well as Spanish. So more families and more professionals can access this information. Now what also goes really nicely with the What Works briefs are little mini trainings that have already been created. So if you're doing a staff meeting and you need some help on understanding routines and classroom schedules, there is a training already developed along with PowerPoint handouts and the presenter handouts. So again, a great useful tool for any trainings, any parent night activities right at your fingertips. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go back to our screen. I also just want to add that there are a ton of resources here that are very helpful. If you were looking just specifically for Spanish information or materials written in Spanish, you could just click on the Espanol. Also, there are videos. So the overview video of the pyramid model, which is 22 minutes, is right here at your fingertips. So that, again, is a great resource for staff meetings, team building meetings. And then there are specific resources for states taking on the pyramid model, coaches and trainers, families. So we have articles related specifically to families and supporting families, along with the 0 to 3 support information. And then, of course, our teachers and caregivers. So if you wanted to go straight to the source and the resources that you needed, you could just click on what best defines your role. Okay, now I'm going to go back to our presentation. And again, this PowerPoint will be listed on our website. So you can see that I did some highlights on each of those sections that I just showed you. And here's a brief overview of what's on the CEFA website. Now we're going to go to the TAXI website. And it's a pretty simple website to remember. ChallengingBehavior.org goes straight to the point. And just some overview on what TAXI is, and that's funded by the Office of Special Education Programs, so OSEP, which is a great collaboration between Head Start, Child Care, and the special education resources. So really the main focus that TAXI wanted to take on was, of course, the social emotional outcomes. Also really being specific to children with special needs. But in addition to what CEPHL had already done by providing resources for free, TAXI took it one step further. There are tons of resources on the TAXI website, and they are all or mostly free. Anything that's not free you can order, but it's primarily free. And there is a disclaimer that I want to be sure that you see. You do have the rights from TAXI and CEPHL to use these materials and trainings. However, please be sure to give credit to where credit's due. And you'll see in the bottom, if you can note on any PowerPoints that you use or any handouts that you use that this has been created by TAXI or CEPHL or any of the any other of the authors that have did this work. So, okay. Thank you all for being patient too with my novice webinar skills. Okay. So Eva's got a question about where the what works briefs trainings are, and that's on the CEPHL site, and it's under training kits. It's on the left-hand side, so hopefully that'll help. If not, you can contact me after the webinar, and I'll direct you to it. Okay, so let's go to TAXI. We only have 10 minutes, and I want to make sure that you get to see all the resources that are available here. Okay. So where I find a ton of resources, and first of all, here's the home page. The home page is really important because there's some links on the bottom here. One is I highly recommend that you sign up to be on the email updates. You will get updates from both CEPHL and from TAXI. You can also share your thoughts on how you would like any of these websites to be improved. Please contact Pyramid Plus directly for the Pyramid Plus websites. But as far as CEPHL and TAXI, it's really helpful to get your feedback on what's going to work best. Okay. Oh, and again, if you had a pyramid model story that you wanted to share, TAXI is developing a really nice journal, really, of all the positive stories from using the pyramid model. But I'm going to take you to the Browse Resources, and this is where I find a ton of information. You could just click on here, view all the TAXI resources, and it's going to show you what's here. So these are all evidence-based, similar to the What Works briefs. They're a little more colorful, great to have at any Child Find screenings, maybe in your Child Find office, in your child care center. Great resource for a quick glance. There's other handouts too, explaining the pyramid model, so facts about challenging behaviors, the poster, and then this again is a great overview article to hand out to staff or families. We also have a program-wide behavior support brochure and family brochure, and then there's specific papers. So one is on the RTI model and how it coincides with the pyramid model, which is really helpful when you're working with school districts. We also have the roadmap to effective intervention practices. These are multiple pages and great resources if you're thinking on ordering a new screening tool for social emotional concerns. Check this out. There's they do a huge overview on different social emotional screening tools, and you'll get the concrete information all in one package. And it's free, which is really nice. There are more and more information coming out as well. You'll see that there's a technical assistance information guide, and I use them all the time. They're very helpful. I'm going to bring you to the toolkit. And the toolkit has been incredibly helpful for teachers that I've worked with. What you can do is literally just download it on your computer by clicking this. Once it's downloaded on your computer, or you could just not download it and connect to it every time on your computer through the internet, or you could even download it onto a disk. The great thing about using it on a computer is that there's hyperlinks. So this toolkit has been made to help teachers come up with solutions and develop informal behavior support plans to help children. So if you have a great idea that you know the function of a child's behavior but you're not quite sure what to do, here's that routine-based support guide for teachers, File E. The other thing, what we've done in the past in trainings is we've literally made toolkits for providers. And the user's manual gives you step-by-step instructions on how to do that. You'll see that there are a bunch of different strategies and tools, including visuals. So say you don't have BoardMaker, or you're getting bored of your clip art. Well, there's tons of different pictures here on the toolkit resource. So I would definitely earmark the toolkit as a great resource. Also, another one that I can't say enough of is the Complete Guide to Behavior Support Plan. I'm going to show you really quick. It's about 31 pages, 33 pages, and it gives you a step-by-step instruction on how to create a behavior support plan. And what you'll see here throughout the document, actually hyperlinks. So if you click on it, it'll bring you to a training, or it'll bring you actually to the document that you may need. Say it's a functional assessment interview or a particular data sheet to use. So again, very, very highly recommended resources. We also have policy briefs, another resource to help stakeholders learn more about the pyramid model and how it coincides with other initiatives such as early childhood mental health consultation, or what administrators can do to help promote a high fidelity implementation of the pyramid, or how this coincides with children being served through IDEA. And here are some additional articles. So I'm going to bring you back up and show you a little bit more, but we're not going to do too much more because this is really where a lot of the content is. You'll see that it's very similar to the previous websites, that there's overview on the pyramid model, understanding program-wide adoption. So if you're looking to go program-wide, highly recommend this guide to help you. There's also information, more information on individual intensive interventions, and a glossary, which is super helpful too. If you wanted to learn more about what's going on in TAXI states, which currently there are 2, you can click on that link. Also, similar to the CEPHL website, there's specific links for specific roles. So I'm going to go back to our slide. And we have about 4 minutes. And here are the Browse Resources contents that we went over. And here's a quick overview of the information on the TAXI website. I did want to share this with you, and unfortunately it got a little chopped off. But this is a webinar, a previous webinar that Lisa Fox has done with the promotion of TAXI and CEFL. And I think it's going to be a great resource for you too, since she is one of the creators of the pyramid model. And to let you know that there are additional resources coming on both sites. There's going to be an infant, toddler, and an inclusion practice roadmap. There'll be more family materials, obviously more webinars. There's going to be a whole coaching toolkit available at some point too. And I believe it's going to be on the CEFL website. Also training materials specific to children with particular disabilities. So currently there's a webinar, say on children with autism that Phil Strain and Glenn Dunlap did, which lives on the TAXI website in their webinar department. Then there, like I said before, if you sign up for the e-updates for CEFL and TAXI, you'll be getting all these updates to you via email, and also sign up for the Pyramid Plus newsletter. Again, here are the key websites, the 3 that we went over today, and Special Quest, which we'll have a webinar in the future on. And I just wanted to share again that there is a Summer Institute coming up this July in Breckenridge, and the 3-day module trainings, which the preschool will be in Crested Butte in August, and the infant toddler modules will be in Colorado Springs in November. And to get more information, you could go to pyramidplus.org. And I also just wanted to unmute you all and ask you if you have any questions, or if you'd like any additional information for a future webinar or additional training. Please note that on the evaluation when we're completed with the webinar today.
The conference has been muted. The conference has been unmuted.
Okay, so we're all unmuted now, and if there are any questions, just please ask.
Could you give us the website that you Lisa Fox's webinar thing?
It's Pacer. So let me go back to that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll leave that up if you wanted to write it down. It's really great. She doesn't actually go on the websites, but she's basically going over what is on the CEFL and TAXI website. Any other questions?
Say thank you for a very helpful presentation, Johanna.
Oh, well, thank you, Jenny. It's great to hear your voice.
It's really helpful.
Great. Well, there's a lot of information, and it's a lot to squeeze in an hour, so I was trying to figure out how to best do that. But my recommendation is just to go on, and not like we all have lots of ample time, but to go on and check it out and see what you'll find, because there's lots of information.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Where can we find the evaluation that you were talking about?
Oh, it's going to be once the webinar ends, you'll be sent an email, and it'll give you instructions.
Ah, okay.
But thanks for asking, because your feedback is going to be really helpful.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions?
Nice job, Johanna.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Johanna.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope you have a great day and enjoying our beautiful Colorado weather.
Yeah.
Okay, bye now.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Please stand by.